Okay, let's talk about part 3 of our All About the Bait series, and that is basically throwing the cast net from a kayak. Today I've got my Tarpon 140, no outriggers, no outboard, just my old school 2010 14 foot, I don't know, 30-ish inches wide, very stable. This is where I cut my teeth using for pretty much everything I do now. I've done with this kayak. I've just gotten lazier. But anyways, what we're going to focus on today is the aspects of throwing the cast net off of your kayak, and then the different types of equipment that you can use to make that a little bit easier. So the first step, getting to your area. I'm over here just west of the park channel because I'm going to actually go fish it after I catch some bait. Now, one of the things that is very important with throwing a cast net is being able to stand up. Not only is it easier to actually physically throw the net, but it's actually easier to see the bait, see good locations, and just see things. So like right now, I could see some pinfish coming up where I threw some tuna chunks out. But same thing for pilchards, finding ballyhoo out on the reef, finding any pilchards on the flats, is that when you're sitting down, your scope of view is just so limited unless you have totally flat calm conditions. But the reverse is just as true, and probably even more so. If you could see them, they could see you and they're already gone. So by the time you see something, get your net all ready, they're gone. They're out of your range. So by being able to stand up, you get a lot more point of view. So I'll show you here. So you can just hopefully see how much more angle that you get by just standing, how much you can see, seeing the bait fish, but also seeing the contours where it's a little deeper here, all flats there. Your range is just so much better when you can stand. And then on top of that, being able to throw the net is also, again, just so much easier than being in a sitting position. So we're gonna just do this in kind of stages. The first part of it will be standing on your kayak. Huge, huge, huge. Not just for catching bait, not just for seeing, but for fishing as well. It'll just add so much more to your arsenal if you can basically do this, especially down here in the Keys when you've got clear water, fishing a lot of flats, looking for structure, looking for a fish. So let's go some step-by-steps how to make that a little bit easier. Okay, now the number one way of learning how to stand up on your kayak, throwing a cast net, is stand up on your kayak. Forget about everything else. Forget about the cast net, forget about bringing your rods, reels, gear. Bring nothing except you and your swimsuit, and hop on your kayak, find some flat water. This is a summer thing that you should be doing, but if you come down the Keys, it's still 80-degree water. But you want to be able to just get out, get up on your kayak, and stand and paddle, just like a paddle board. I can go out with paddleboard people with my kayak, and I could skim along just as easily as they can with that stability of sitting down and fishing as well. So it's just an easy tool to get along with. Stretch your legs. It's easier to take a pee. Just so much advantage to just be able to do that. So the first step, get out, don't bring anything. Get out on your paddleboard, find a beach, and just paddle around, just have fun with it, okay? Then once you've got that stability, add your fishing stuff and go paddle around, just paddle around. The thing that happens is that with your paddle, that adds so much stability. When you're just standing in one place and there's a little bit of rock, there's a little bit of wind, it creates a lot of instability. But just like riding a bike, when you're moving and you're paddling along, you're basically having the paddle as a third tripod. You've got your two legs and your paddle. So when it's in the water and it's pulling drag against the water, it's just like having a third leg. So that's what an easy part to do it is. Just get out, have your paddle in hand, keep that force going, keep it in the water. If you're getting tipsy and you're in shallow water, you can use it to anchor yourself, or if you want to stop, okay? and you're all good to go. That's the first step. Just get out, learn to paddle. Learn to stand up paddle. Now, a second thing is how to get up from your sitting position. Just as important. Another thing you can do while you're out fun paddling is test your kayak's stability. Like I said, go over, fall over on your left, fall over on your right, practice your re-entries, but get the gist to know of what kind of angle that it'll kick in before the rockers, your side rockers, or what creates that stability. How far that you can roll before they stop you. Usually there's a point at an angle that you can roll that'll be kind of wobbly, but then it's just like a pontoon. As soon as you hit that rocker, it basically stops you. So you just need to know how far that is and be able to prepare for it and rely on that angle, okay? So that's a good thing to do while you're just out testing the waters. Okay, for standing up, pretty basic, okay? You want to create your own procedure for doing it. For me, the important things that I've kind of figured out is that you want to keep everything equal. You keep your left hand, your right hand the same distance on the kayak where it's holding on. Use the same amount of pressure. When you stand up, put your feet in the same equal position so that you're keeping yourself blocked off and equal. If you lift up with one forward, one backwards, one forward, one backwards, you're throwing yourself off balance. So by keeping everything perpendicular to yourself, it makes it a lot easier. So what I do is I put my arms, get it right next to me, okay, getting ready to do both lift with my arms and then tuck with my legs to get my body above my legs and then just stand. You don't want to do this with hesitancy. Just get that to the point where you're confident, because if you start getting that middle ground, then that's when you start losing your balance. So I just put my hands down, get my body up, tuck my feet in, roll myself forward. You can grab on to the sides and then just stand straight up. Do it in a fluid motion. Even on coming down the same way. When you sit, be purposeful about it. Don't be wishy-washy about it, because that gets that instability a chance to come into play. Okay, with all the new kayaks out there, they've got those lawn chair things where you can sit a lot higher up, where it makes that start off a little bit easier, versus me with the old school, I'm sitting basically on the water line. What can you do about that? Bring a little stadium seat and just put that on, and that'll raise you a couple inches. Cheap, simple, 10 bucks. I found this out in the bushes, but that gets you that leverage point where you're sitting up a little bit more, and then so that angle is easier to get up on. That's the one easier thing to use. Another thing that'll help you out is to have a strap to the front of your kayak handle or somewhere on the front. Some of the fishing kayaks have them built on. It's just basically a strap that's hanging out that allows you to pull yourself up with it. Okay, what I could use is I could use my anchor trolley and basically use that to pull me up. And on the flip side, I could use it to sit down. It just gives you a little bit of sturdiness so that you can basically lean on it and then to sit back down. Keeping it nice and basic. Third thing you could use is your paddle, okay? Again, you could use this to kind of anchor yourself on the one side, and that'll kind of anchor the kayak, but you want to still keep that perpendicular part of it, so keep your right hand about the same angle. Give yourself a little bit of a flex, because you're gonna pull on this paddle to lift you up, but you want to push with your right hand to keep yourself balanced. So it's basically the same way. Okay, same thing. Sitting back down, you could use your kayak to kind of bounce you down and fall back down. Don't ease yourself, go for it. Less chance for instability. Okay, so that gets you up and gets you balanced, and then you're standing. Now, how to keep your kayak from floating away. I'll go more in detail on the step 4, which is kind of finding the bait, how to find it and stock it and throw on it. So that'll be the next step. But for this one, we're gonna go over like anchoring. Once you see the bait out there, okay, it's hard if you're in the wind and you're getting blown around by the wind, if it's choppy, if it starts spinning you sideways, to try to keep control so that you can throw the net forward, which is a lot easier than trying to throw it behind you or to your side of you, which will add instability. Throwing it perfectly forward keeps your balance. But you want to be able to anchor your kayak down so that you're basically pointing towards that bait, as well as upwind from it, so you're throwing downwind. Throwing across with a cast net in the wind just is not very effective. So by using some anchoring equipment, that'll help you to get on that bait, stick on it, feel more solid, and be able to feel more comfortable throwing that net. Okay, let's talk anchors. Specifically for the bait, I've got my standard heavy duty primary anchor to anchor up anchor. So I've got the release float, the float, 400 foot of line, chain, and then a claw anchor with a breakaway. So I use that for actually anchoring up, and it's important to have a good anchor when you're fishing these bridges, not only because of the current, but also you can get involved with some big fish that are going to tow you around, and you need to be able to stop them from going underneath the bridges and cutting you off. So you definitely want a solid anchoring system, again, not just for the current, but also when you're fighting fish. It's a bit much when I'm going to be just using the anchor for catching bait, and then I'll be doing something else where I don't need an anchor. So you can see it's a bit much for that. I can still use it, I just don't use the release. I just let out enough line and then just tie off the line, and then that's it. But not really necessary when I know I'm not going to anchor except for the bait. So that's that one. Now for bait specifically, when I'm going to go out and just like catch mullet or pilchards on the flats or in deeper water than my pole anchor would be good for, I have this basic unit. And this is just a real simple mushroom anchor, 10 pounds, and just with rope. And this I could just basically drop over the side, and the 10 pounds is enough to keep me from floating away. And then it's also easy for me to just pull right back up and store and be done with it without all the other stuff involved with it. Today, because I'm going to do catching bait, plus I'm going to be fishing underneath the bridge, I'm going to just use my full anchor. But just to know, you can just use just a block of a rock and then some rope, and that'll be enough to tie you off so that you can get your bait catching done. Now I've already gone over the anchor that I've got back here. I've got my big one because I'm going to be fishing after this, but I also had just the mushroom anchor, which I could just drop over the side even in a foot or two of water, tie it off so I'm at the right angle, and I'm golden. I can basically throw my cast net and then easily pick up that anchor. The other one I wanted to go over, which is this, is my stakeout pole. And I use this a lot, not only for baits, but also for casting towards fish, especially the mangroves on the flats. So this is my anchor pole, and I made this one, and I'll do a quick video and attach it to this this video as well, so you can kind of see what it is. But what that allows me to do is I could quick stick it. You can do it through a scupper hole, I do it through a handle, your bungee cord, your anchor trolley, and then just stick it in there, and you're not going to go anywhere. I also use my paddle to do the same thing. I could do it between the anchor trolley and the kayak, and it works the same way as my pole there. I could actually have two, and I could use that to stand up if I needed to. It doesn't work if there's hard ground, but in this situation when it's soft sand, it works fine. So those are the things that'll help you to get stable, so while you're standing, and then you can throw your cast net. Okay, we're anchored up, I'm standing, I got my balance, I'm feeling good. I see some bait out here I want to throw on, so now I got to grab the cast net. Now I am going to throw my big net first, because I think there is actually some bait waiting for me. And the first thing that you always have to do is you want to make sure that that net is not twisted. So I'm going to untwist it so that all the braille lines are straight. So we've got it all straight there. Okay. Then I'm going to wind up the rope here. Do a slip knot around my wrist. Let that go. Do my coils. Now this is no different than the setup I showed. We're just going to do the 3-part method. We're just doing it on the kayak, and it's a little bit more unstable. There's a little shark coming. All right, so I'm going to make sure it's all cleared. I'm going to use the side of the kayak to basically make those parallel rows. See, there's a little busted up. Good there. Wind's blowing like crazy now. I think that's cleared. Okay, so we're cleared there. So now that we could do the first coil of the net, coil number 1. See, in this wind, wind is not good because it not only creates waves, but it pushes on your body, and then that'll kind of pushes you over. That's why you want to stay perfectly downwind from it to cause the least amount of drag. But now, standing, you always want to try to keep your feet side to side, okay? Keep your rocking side to side. If you're front to back, then you have no stability side to side, and that's how the kayak wobbles, and you're going to lose your spot there. While I'm prepping everything, I'm keeping exactly balanced, feet side to side equal with each other. However, when I throw it, I'm actually going to put my left foot on the right hand side, keep my left foot on the front left. My right is going to stay in the same position. But before I do anything, I'm just going to stand in that position and preload the kayak. So get that amount of weight on my right foot and the amount on my left foot to create a stability, just like if I was side by side, to feel balanced even though I'm in a diagonal position. But while I'm still here and stable, I'm going to set up this net. We're going to reach around. Oops. A little bit of tangle there. There it goes. Remember, I'm just going to create the third of the net there over my side. Sharks wanting to learn how to throw a cast net. Gonna do a little bit of my cheater. See, sharks never let you alone. As soon as a GoPro turns on, they gotta come out and show their appearance. All right, I'm gonna fan my hand. Grab us to split that into a half, okay? Turn my hand over, let it roll into my hand. Pinch that weight between, now there's 2 of them, okay? Now pinch that between my thumb and forefinger. Hey, get out of here. You can get cast netted. Move. I always tell people that I treat sharks just like dogs because I talk to them, but look at them, they're just like being annoying. Just like a dog was around, he'd come around and just like, what are you doing? Hey, can I play with you? Throw me a stick, throw something, I'll chase it, I'll bring it back. All right, we're gonna throw at them regardless. Now we're gonna quickly move our front left foot, so now we've got our diagonal, and then I'm gonna feel that balance, okay? Because I'm gonna be throwing the net, I'm gonna be off balance a little bit, so I want as much stability as I can. Rock that net a few times so you can get that feel of what it's going to be like when you throw it. And this also comes into play, don't overthrow, just follow along that swing, so that way you don't have to worry about throwing yourself off balance. Okay, they're gone. So I'm going to throw this net now, and we're just going to do a nice easy throw right where those sharks were. And there we go, and there goes the sharks. Then I'm gonna come back, get my stable position again, okay? I'm not gonna fall over, and then I could pull that net in. And it looks like I've got flashes, so we've got some pinfish, and a snapper, and a jellyfish, smorgasbord. Okay, and we're gonna bring that on board and drop it. Now, everything you do, remember, is you want to keep stable. All these reactions, pulling the net from one side, you got to remember that's going to cause some weight distribution changes. So you got to be ready for that. Be light on your feet. Then we're just going to shake this down. A couple of snappers, but I got a couple good pinfish, so that's what we want. Shake that guy out of there. And one more. Okay, so that net done. Okay, let's throw the small net now. So this is going to be the 5-footer. So we're going to get up, 2 hands right side by side of myself, get my feet ready to stand. I'm going to push up, tuck in, and then stay centered and roll right up. Feet are in that position, so it's just ready to go. Very stable. Now the good thing with here's all the good things about the small net. One we talked about is setting up the net. Clearing it is so much easier than that 7-foot. So I get the line all coiled up. I just lift it up because it's only 5 foot. I could just lift it up that far and it's off the ground. Grab one, shake it out. Got a couple little stuck spots, and that cleared it. Okay, we're good to go. That's all it takes to clear a 5-foot net. This is why it's so much better than having a big net. Think if you had an 8, 9, 10, 11, 12-foot net where you got net all over the place, ropes all over it, you're imbalanced. It's a lot heavier, okay? Probably 10 to 15 pounds heavier on some of the big 12-foot nets. But one hand causes no instability issues. Okay, then we're gonna go to our normal procedure of splitting it in half. Right hand, grab one coil, bring it out, shake it out a bit, make sure it's cleared. Roll it over, put the weight in your thumb there. Gonna grab the one, shake it out. You see how that's got a little bit of a snag there, which would mean that wouldn't have opened. So just do a quick test there. Okay, so that's cleared. Hold it open. Now, with the big net, because I need the leverage, because I'm swinging heavier weight, I would step forward and put my left foot there, so I'm kind of pointing it, like we always said, is that we want to throw 90 degrees to where we're facing. But with a small net, you don't have to basically go drastically that far. I could stay in that same confident feeling there, just sway it, and just going to remember how to do the twist. Tuck it in, duck it in. And then this is where you always want to be careful. You're tugging with your left, so that's going to get you off balance. Plus, when you lift the net, you don't want to reach over and throw yourself off balance. You want to be very comfortable where you're at. Either kneel down a little bit farther or lift that net up to you. And I've got one bait there, 2 baits there. Good deal. And you can see it's all still cleared. I got one little spot there. Fix that up. Wind's blowing like crazy. Let's see if I can get that cleared out. All right, so that cleared that. It's cleared. It's all ready to go. So we'll throw it again. Man, what is the deal with this? There he goes. Clear it. Get that swing going. Make sure nothing behind you. And throw it out there. And that's basically it. How to throw the cast net on your kayak. I'll do one more at a sitting position so you can see it. And then that'll be all we wrote. Okay, let's throw this small cast net from a sitting position. So we're gonna just do small loops. Remember, we're gonna be in a confined position, so we need to go a lot smaller on all of our loops. Make it more manageable. Okay, and we grab the horn, and we're just gonna make sure that it is all straight, just like when we're standing. We'll make sure all the braille lines are straight. They look good. We're going to grab it in that middle position just to clear the line out. And we can do that just by inching our hand across a little at a time. Okay, so that's good. Now, because we're throwing the small net in a sitting position, we're actually going to use the third load method, even though it's just a small net. So first thing we do with just like the bigger net, we're going to grab it by the horn, stretch it out, make one coil, because we're going to have it very tight, because we're going to need that room to swing it over our body and over the kayak. Okay, we're going to grab 1/3 of the net, which is not very much. That's going to go over our shoulder. Then I can grab the one piece and tuck it around my elbow and over my shoulder to help it open up. Since we're confined, I'm going to go ahead and put one in my teeth. And then I'm going to fan it out just a little bit, small net, let it fall back, and hold it. Okay, same action. I'm going to do it, but I'm going to throw it out that way. So we're going to rock it and throw it. Okay, so works the same way as at the big net, just combine everything, make it a little tighter, but still keep that same rhythm. Okay, let's get ready to throw this. Alright, we got it open, swing it out, and launching out there. And it's easy as that. And caught one. So those are the ways to throw a cast net on your kayak. Hope it helps. Next part will be strategies for catching bait, finding it, catching it, and we'll go on from there.